Hello everybody, and welcome back to another week of MoodTube during No Shave November. I'm your host, Paul Malamud. I will get to what went on in the rest of week 11 in a moment, but I've got to get something off my chest first. Everybody, I'm sorry, but mostly, I'm sorry to all the Jets fans out there. I vowed to do my best not to let it happen, but my Jets hubris got the best of me last week when I suggested that Geno Smith would be a good play at fantasy QB. I saw what he did in the first game against the Bills, and I thought with Santonio Holmes, Kellen Winslow, and Jeff Cumlin coming back that he was due for a big week. But I broke my rule about never starting the Jets QB, and I'm fully accepting responsibility for jinxing Geno and the Jets. The Bills are not as good as the Jets made them look on Sunday, but they certainly aren't as bad as they've looked at times this season. E.J. Manuel played a very clean game, and the Bills' defense looked the way it should, with the players they have with Mike Pettine as coordinator. Like in Cincinnati, I think this was another landslide game, where once things start going against you, there's nothing you can do to right the ship. From the moment Douzable went off sides when the Bills were about to punt in the second quarter, the game just went completely out of control. The secondary got burned by the Bills' third and fourth receivers, and Geno had the worst game of his young career. I'm going to do things a little differently this week and shake up the order. Get to my one Ask Moody question right now. This question comes from my brother Luke Malamud and is simply, what is wrong with our team? There are many things that I could point to as a problem with the Jets. The most obvious culprit is our secondary and its inability to cover the deep ball. There is no excuse for the two long touchdowns the Bills had. On the first one, E.J. Manuel just chucked the ball up as he was getting hit. It was the kind of pass that you've seen time and time again, where as soon as it's thrown, you just know it's going to be intercepted. But D. Milner's coverage was horrible, and it was a touchdown. There's also absolutely no excuse for Cromartie to get burned by Marquise Goodwin. Yes, Goodwin has track star speed, but there's a reason he's the Bills' third receiver. Cromartie's supposed to be one of the best corners in the league, and covering straight-line speedsters has been his expertise. Now, he's been horrible this year, and I thought I had it figured out why. His demise as a corner had to have been a result of him getting a vasectomy. His powers had to be derived from his super potent sperm. But now, I hear today that this vasectomy was a lie, and that Cromartie's boys can still swim as fast as ever. So I just don't know what is to blame. Now, the easy target would be Geno Smith. He's, after all, responsible for more than 95% of the Jets' turnovers. That's 20 out of 21, for those of you who don't know. But he's a rookie, and he's expected to make those mistakes. I still think Geno can be a good QB in this league. He's just proving that, as I expected going into the season, he would have been better served starting the year on the sideline holding a clipboard. Now, people are calling for Matt Sims to start, but they seem to be forgetting that rookie QBs are supposed to struggle. That last year was an outrageous fluke. They're also forgetting that Matt Sims was horrible in college. They couldn't even start over Tyler Bray. People calling for Sims need to take a chill pill big time. Now, I think the biggest problem with the Jets is the inconsistency of their offensive line. A rookie QB like Smith needs to have time to make plays. He's not going to be able to succeed if he's playing the entire game with defenders in his face. It started on the first series when Marcel Darius rocked Geno on the fourth play of the game. The pressure never relented. Smith was sacked 4 times, and he was hurried and hit all game long. The O-line put Geno in position to fail, and fail he did. Then we had their run blocking. The strength of the Jets' offense is supposed to be their running game, but our playmaking running backs can't make plays if they're getting hit behind the line. The Jets rushed for 134 yards, but if you take out Chris Ivory's 69-yard garbage time scamper, that number goes down to 65. That is just not acceptable. If the Jets are going to have any chance of making the playoffs, their offensive line needs to be better. And they need to be the unit that sets the tone for this team. So I'm laying down the challenge to my main man, Nick Mangold. It's time to get your unit right. If you have any questions you want answered, make sure to send them in to moodsportstips@gmail.com. Now, in brighter news, the Jets are still in complete control of their playoff destiny. If the postseason started today, the Jets would be in the tournament. The only other team at 5-5 is the Dolphins, who the Jets get to play twice. Now, there's a whole lot of teams behind the Jets at 4-5. Some they have to play. But if the Jets can win those 2 games and split their other 4, the Jets will be dancing in January. So Jets fans, it's time to keep calm and jet on. Now on to the rest of Week 11 in the NFL. We had 2 incredible primetime games on Sunday and Monday night. We finally got to see the Broncos offense go head-to-head with the Chiefs defense, the matchup that we've been looking forward to all season long. As I expected, Payne and the Thomas twins came out on top. However, the highest praise for this victory needs to go to the Broncos offensive line. The Chiefs have the most ferocious pass rush in the league, but Payne wasn't sacked once and he was barely even touched. He got rid of the ball very quick, which is one reason for that, but his O-line deserves all of the credit for this win. On Monday night, we had an incredible back-and-forth game between the Panthers and the Patriots. The Panthers' defense has been outstanding this season, but it was Cam Newton and the offense that won this contest. Now, I can't mention this game and not talk about the horrible no call on the final play, but I've already discussed that on moodysports.com to no avail. It should have been a penalty, but there's no reason why this is the story of this game. The story should be that we finally got a good matchup on Monday night. It seems like we haven't had one all year long. It was 2 very good teams going head-to-head, and the Panthers came out on top. I doubted Carolina before they beat the 49ers, but they are legit. 2 of the best games for the rest of the season are going to be between the Panthers and the Saints. That division is still very much up for grabs. Now, things are really getting interesting in the NFC East. The Eagles came out and took care of the Redskins, finally winning at home for the first time in 10 games. Nick Foles continues to look good as a signal caller, but I am a little concerned about the fact that Philly was held scoreless by Washington's poor defense for the final 24.5 minutes of the game. The Giants completed their 4-game sweep of QB Murderers Row, and are now 4-6 after beating Josh Freeman, Matt Barkley, Terrell Pryor, and Scott Tolzien. Their stroll down easy streak comes to an end this week, however, when they face Tony Romo and a Cowboys team that is coming off their bye week. If the Giants have any hope of doing the improbable and making the playoffs, they need to win this game. Now, I don't think the Giants' passing offense will win a shootout against the boys. So I think their game plan going into this week needs to be focused on them riding Andre Brown against a Cowboys defense that is missing Sean Lee. The other huge game this week comes on Sunday night, when the old rivals Tom Brady and Peyton Manning meet up in Foxborough. At 7-3, the Pats still have a tiny chance of securing home field advantage, but losing this game, their second in a row, will completely kill that. The Broncos, on the other hand, need a win so that they can maintain first place in their division over the Chiefs and home field advantage. Now, for this week's update to the fabulous freshman watch. Jabari Parker is still in the number 1 spot. His all-around game is absolutely amazing. It's not the fact that he's averaging over 22 points a game, but it's how he's doing it. Parker has the size, the athleticism, and the skill to play inside, but he is also shooting 65% from downtown. He can rebound, he can block shots, and boy can he dish the rock. In the game against East Carolina, he twice took the ball the full length of the court to score. The first time, he blocked a shot and then went in for a layup. The second time, as I'm sure you saw on SportsCenter top plays, he got a rebound. He zigged and zagged to the ECU defense, and then he finished it with a monster jam. Parker may be the best college freshman that I've ever seen in the 15 years that I've been an avid college hoops fan. However, Parker isn't the only special player for Coach K's Dukies this year. Transfer student Rodney Hill is almost playing as well as the freshman. Averaging over 21 points a game himself, Hood is a special player in his own right. But his importance to Dukies doesn't just revolve around his skills on the court. Hood is the first player in Coach K's historic career to be named team captain before he played a minute for the Hall of Famer. Now for this week's favorable fantasy matchups. As always, this segment is brought to you by GTS Clothing. At quarterback, I like Case Keenum this week. He got benched against the Raiders, but I think that may have been a teaching point by Gary Kubiak. Last week was the only game that Keenum has scored below 13 points, and if he had played the final 18 minutes, I believe he would have at least reached that level. Playing in a great matchup against the Jags this week, he should be in for a big rebound. At wide receiver, I'm going with Michael Floyd. He had a huge week last week with 196 yards and a score. The Colts are giving up the second most points to opposing receivers. Now, I'll admit this is a gamble play, because Floyd has never in his career come close to putting up those kind of numbers. But I think last week may have been the coming out party that I've been waiting for since I drafted Floyd in my keeper league last season. The Colts will focus their coverage on Larry Fitzgerald, which should leave Floyd open for some big plays. At running back, I'm going Pierre Thomas. He has quietly become a major factor in the Saints' offense in both the rushing and passing game. Going against the Falcons' defense that got gashed by Bobby Rainey last week, I think Thomas will be in for a big week 4. The 4-game trend of him getting at least 80 all-purpose yards should continue, and I think he's going to add a touchdown as well. Our tight end, I'm going with Coby Fleener. He has been the beneficiary of Reggie Wayne being out for the year. He's getting a lot more targets. Now, coming out of college, I thought Fleener was going to be a good player in the league right away. With his already built-in chemistry with Andrew Luck, I thought that he was going to do well last year in fantasy. Didn't happen, but it finally seems to be coming true. The Cardinals are giving up the most points to tight ends this year, and I think Fleener is going to continue to be a good play. Now, for my game picks for Week 12. The first game I'm going with is the Bears, getting 1.5 over the Rams. Now, the Rams look great in their win over the Colts before the bye, but I like the Bears this week. They smell the blood after Lions lost last week to the Steelers, and they know that they've got a chance to get back into the top spot in the division if they can beat the Rams this week. I'm taking the Bears, getting 1.5 points. The second game I'm going with is the Cardinals, giving up 1 point to the Colts. Now, the Colts have looked bad the last 3 weeks. They barely escaped Tennessee with a win, which would have been their second loss in a row. The Cardinals are playing great football right now, and they are trying their best to keep pace in the NFC playoff race. I think the Cardinals are going to come out and win this one, so I'm going Arizona, giving up a point. The third game I'm going with is Sunday night with the Broncos giving up 2.5 points over the Patriots. The Patriots are going to come out playing hard, trying to win, not lose their second in a row, but I don't think their secondary is going to be able to stop Peyton Manning and his wide variety of weapons. I'm taking the Broncos, giving up 2.5 points on the road. Next, I'm going with the Cowboys, getting 2.5 points over the Giants. I've been saying all year long that I thought that the Cowboys were the best team in this division. That may no longer be the case with Nick Foles and the Eagles, but they're still a better team than the Giants. The Giants are on a 4-game winning streak, but they haven't played a single QB worth squat. I think Tony Romo is going to light it up against the Giants in JetLife Stadium. I'm taking the Cowboys on the road, getting 2.5 points, and the Giants' playoff hopes are coming to an end. The final game I'm going with is the Chiefs, giving up 4.5 points over the Chargers. Coming off a tough loss to the Broncos last week, the Chiefs are going to come out and they're going to try to win. I think their defense is going to be phenomenal, and I don't think the Chargers are going to put up much points. I'm taking the Chiefs, giving up 4.5. Now, for this week's Bet Moody. After taking a week off while I was on vacation, I'm back in action this week against Giants fan Peter Gallo. As I just said, I think the Cowboys are a flat-out better team than the G-Men, and they're going to win this game and put an end to the Giants' playoff hopes. However, if I am wrong, boy is Peter going to make me pay. If the Giants somehow win this game, I will have to drape myself in Canadian colors and sing the Canadian national anthem to start next week's episode. And as if attacking my love of America wasn't enough, I will also have to commit fan treason against my Mets and wear a Yankees hat for the entire episode. I don't know if I can bear to do all that, so this week I'm a huge Romo-sexual. Let's go Cowboys. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you all next week. But in the meantime, don't forget to check out the tube, because you got to see mood.